Do you know the difference between sympathy, empathy, and compassion? It's one of these things that shows up in business and in work all the time. And if we don't understand the differences, we can get pulled into holes and we can find ourselves battered into corners. And again, as we discussed in our video yesterday, it's one of those things that can make life really difficult in terms of setting your own boundaries so you protect your energy. And when you show up in a room full of people who are ridiculously senior, even though you know you've earned your spot, if you don't understand the difference between these three things, you can find yourself in that room shrinking down, not knowing the best way to deal with people, especially when you work somewhere where the culture has always been very shouty, very brutal, and the intention is that you should then trickle that down onto people who report to you because it's just the way it's always been done. So an overview is sympathy is when you recognise that someone is going through something, and it can come across as a bit cold if it's not done properly. It can be a bit flippant, but it's also incredibly useful if the other person is somebody who tends to take advantage. So having sympathy, just recognising that something is going on in somebody else. Empathy is sympathy plus. Empathy is sympathy plus you can feel it yourself. So if somebody in front of you is going through, I don't know, their dog's just died or something like that, and you can see they're hurting, it stirs a hurt in you and you feel sad for them. Now, empathy is an excellent position to lead from because it allows you to understand the state that they're in, and it allows you to behave in a way that reflects that. But if you're not careful, empathy can allow somebody who takes advantage to suck you into their role and manipulate you into behaving in ways that they would like you to behave. So empathy is a good thing, but you have to watch it with people who take advantage. And then compassion is empathy plus again. Compassion is the gold place. It's the sweet spot. So compassion is, you can see something's going on, you can feel it the same as an empathy situation, but then you have an action. You provide something that, if not solves, relieves. Now, this takes skill. Because again, if you're not careful, you can find yourself in a people-pleasing position where you're running around, putting yourself in positions, doing things you shouldn't really do to solve something that's not your business to solve because you feel for them and you want it to be better. That's admirable, but it's not sensible because you can tie yourself in knots. And the further up we go, the more complicated people around us are, more complicated situations are, and you haven't got the time and the capacity to absorb all that. But it can be little details. It can be, I can see you going through this. I can really feel that you're feeling it at the moment. So what I've done is I've asked somebody else in the team to pick up this project for 2 weeks for you. Or here's a number for the call centre to talk through for mental health. Or some kind of small action. So when you're thinking compassion, it's absolute leadership goal because you are considering where they are, you're considering where they're coming from, you're considering what they can cope with, and you're actioning from there. You're showing consideration that makes them feel heard and seen, and then in return, when they're feeling better, encourages loyalty, encourages efficiency, and because they feel safe, they're more likely to take the business risks and go and do the big things that make the difference, that move the needle, that bring back, real results, because people feel safe with you, because you've demonstrated that you're a safe pair of hands because you're compassionate. But you have to make sure that you're doing it in a level that's not you people pleasing. You're doing it for the business, for them, for yourself, but not so that they see you in a better light, but because it's the efficient and kind thing to do. So that's the difference between the three. Now, obviously, every situation is nuanced. Every single individual you're dealing with is nuanced as well. These things can be incredibly complex. But once you start understanding the intricacies, and when one of the three best applies, is this a place to be sympathetic? Is this a situation to be empathetic? Or is this a situation to be compassionate? Once you start understanding these things and implementing them, it becomes a way of life. It becomes easier. And then all of a sudden, you are flying.